Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I am Chris.
And we are two nerds trying to find our way in the universe. And one thing that helps that journey go a little bit more smoothly is the fact that I play way too many video games.
This is true.
Now, I'm saying this to set us up for this story, okay? But I discovered the other day that I have played something like 90 days worth of Battlefront 2.
It's kind of a lot.
That's way too much. So yeah, So first, the rumor we're reporting, or not reporting, but we're commenting on,
yes,
I suppose, is that there is a Knights of the Old Republic movie and TV show that is being thrown around, tossed around, talked about, considered, or approved. It's hard to tell. This comes from Fandom Wire, which I gotta say, never fucking heard of them before, but I bet they're better than We've Got This Covered. And they are citing sources.
Yes.
So anyone can cite sources, whatever.
But presumably they're concerned about their credibility.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be saying this if they didn't have some sense that it was true.
Yeah. So like the Taika Waititi thing we're talking about, which, by the way, if you're watching, we do tons of videos. We just did a video on Taika Waititi doing a Star Wars thing, so check that out. Check out our YouTube page, because we got a lot of videos there. That one, to me, when I heard it, I was like, all right, that's probably true.
Yeah.
This one, this has brought me back to the more skeptic area of, I'll believe it when I see it. Because I didn't really, the sources they cited, so I didn't expect them to be like, our sources, blah, 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 from the art and marketing department of Disney, and now she doesn't have a job.
Just in case they want to fire her.
Yeah. But normally, like the source that I had that confirmed the Colin Trevorrow thing, knew a guy at Disney. He told me, this guy works at Disney and was in on these talks.
Yes.
When I hear that, and he's got no reason to lie, right? I trust him. Nothing like that. They're just like, we have sources that say this. Okay.
The thing that gets my eyebrow a quirk in here is that they said a movie and a TV show.
You gotta get those Disney Plus dollars.
Yeah, but those are two very different narrative structures with different strengths and weaknesses, right?
It's one of the reasons I think that we've never seen a live-action Star Wars show before, like when George Lucas was running everything.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard thing to do.
So Star Wars is this like grand-scale space opera, right? Which lends itself great to movies because you can have all sorts of special effects budgets and big explosions and cool
Drama.
lightsabers and aliens and all this stuff. And it's great. But a TV show doesn't necessarily work on that level of bombast, or at least it's spread out over an entire season, right?
Sure.
More slower burn, more narrative build-up.
Yeah.
So it would depend on what kind of story they want to tell. My sense is that they were playing with ideas for a movie or a TV show, and they're just like in the early writing phases saying, what kind of story do we want to tell within these constraints, and trying to figure out which would work better.
Yeah, so speaking of story, I like that idea of, we want it to be one of these things, and then a source getting it wrong, being like, they're doing both.
Yeah.
Story-wise, of course, if you don't know, Knights of the Old Republic was an old RPG game that BioWare developed. It takes place 4,000 years before A New Hope,
Give or take.
Now, they were amazing games. And one Thanksgiving break, my freshman year of college, I locked myself in my apartment with corn dogs, pretty much corn dogs and ranch dressing, and played that game the entire break. I went home for a day on Thanksgiving for a couple hours, came right back, spent the entire break playing this game.
Sure.
It was that amazing. It's so cool. It follows the adventure and the antics of Revan and Malik, who are two different characters, and it's Game of Thronesian kind of. There are lots of characters. There are betrayals, and there's drama and lightsabers, and somehow 4,000 years ago, the Star Wars universe looks more or less the same, except the ships look a little bit different. But it's cool. The story was awesome. You kind of make your own adventure. The choices that you make and the things that you say to your companions changes the outcome of the story.
Yeah, sure.
that shit's cool. And it told this really big epic story about this one particular Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what it is. I believe that the story would have to be that. Now,
so I got two thoughts at this point.
Okay.
The first is that they confirmed that Revan is indeed canon in the new universe. It was some visual dictionary.
It's the visual dictionary for the Rise of Skywalker.
Right. Mm-hmm. So on the page for the Sith Troopers, they mentioned that the Sith Trooper legions are named after a particular Sith, and one of them was Revan.
Yeah.
So Darth Revan is real.
Yes.
Great. My second thought is I really hope they do not retell the story of the video game, because it's a good story. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but I've seen it already.
And they haven't been doing that anyway.
They haven't.
Like the people that they've brought, that they've resurrected from blasting out of existence.
Yeah.
They've kind of massaged them into fit, like Thrawn, for example.
Grand Admiral Thrawn, I was going to say. Like, he's vaguely similar. Like, he still has blue skin.
He's blue.
He's
He's still a dickhole.
Yeah, he's a brilliant tactician or whatever.
He likes art.
But he does different things.
Yeah.
He's involved in different things.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling different stories with him.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the kind of direction I'd want them to go with this setting and with Revan. Don't tell me the same story, because I've seen that story.
It's got such a great twist, though. They'd have to keep that part, I think.
Probably.
That twist. So, spoiler alert.
If you haven't played Knights of the Old Republic, tune out now.
You wake up on a ship. You have no idea who the fuck you are. Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You discover that you are Darth Revan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing twist to the story.
It works so well because you spend the first half of the game running around, like, chasing in the path of Darth Revan, figuring out what Revan was doing all this time.
This guy's such an asshole.
Yeah, he set up this fucking Sith invasion of the galaxy. He's a huge dickhole. Yeah. Wait a minute, I'm a huge dickhole.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's BioWare does this kind of thing where they tell, like, really that's kind of what they're known for, is their storytelling. So I tend to agree with you a little bit more that it is not in the spirit of what Disney has been doing so far with resurrected things, where they kind of they take some ideas and then they make their own story. Mm-hmm. But there are some things I think that I and Star Wars fans in general would really need to have in their Knights of the Old Republic movie, and I think that kind of thing is probably one of them. Mm-hmm. So.
I'm okay with the general idea of a large-scale war between the Jedi and the Sith pre-rule of two, just because that would be the kind of thing that would be a really good movie. Yeah. Like the very first cinematic they made for the Old Republic, the MMO, where the shuttle crashes into the temple on Coruscant.
I couldn't believe it. I saw it and I could not believe it. It was so cool.
A movie built around stuff like that, I would love it.
Yeah, that's from the Old Republic, which is a different thing than KOTOR even, but it's more or less in the same.
It's like 100 years later or something like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the first issue, of course, is it real? Maybe not. It's fun to think about. I'm like I said, I'm in the I will believe it when I see it thing. Mm-hmm. Now, if I grant the premise that it's real, is this the Project Luminous thing that we're hearing about? But see, that takes place 400 years before.
Yeah.
And I thought that with the Project Luminous movie, with the High Republic era or whatever, that they were trying to kind of rein the time scale of the universe in a little bit, where they're like, okay, this doesn't have to take place over 10,000 years. We can kind of Revan was 400 years before or whatever. Is this the thing that Taika Waititi is being bugged for?
I don't know.
We don't know anything because it's probably not real. I'm just saying. In 10 years, we'll look back at this and be like, oh, remember we thought they were going to do that.
I mean, in 6 months, we'll look back at this and think, what the fuck were we on?
Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you think. First, I want to know whether or not you've played KOTOR and if you enjoyed it, what your favorite part was. What parts of that story would you demand in your Knights of the Old Republic movie and TV show? Check out the other videos on our channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook. We post memes and play video games, and it's a lot of fun. We also have a podcast on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. I have always had to look over here because it's only 4 things, but when I'm like on the spot, I just can't think about anything. So anyway, yeah, check us out there for an extended cut.
More rambling.
Yeah. More nerdiness. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, we will see you on the next video.